That was a great campaign. I can't wait to hear what's coming up next.
Well, we always have Dungeons and Dragons.
We just did a D&D session. How about something different?
Finally, we can do the new Stormlight Archive.
Nah, I don't want to do that.
Aww. Okay, what do you guys feel like doing?
How about, I don't know, something a little bit darker?
How about Call of Cthulhu?
Hi, I'm Anthony Darkson,
And I'm Roland Slashadow.
and together we are the Twin Dragons. Welcome to our channel where we discuss everything tabletop role-playing games.
Today we're going to talk about my favorite game, Call of Cthulhu. We will be reviewing some of the scenarios and campaigns that we have personally run and played in.
We're going to be discussing a general overview of the campaign in one-shots, some pros, some cons, just some things to think about.
We will try to avoid spoilers as best as possible.
Keepers and players, be warned.
The first scenario we're going to talk about is the Lightless Beacon. It is a interesting scenario which takes place off the coast of Massachusetts on a stormy evening. The party finds themselves traveling to a lighthouse to investigate the happenings at this lighthouse, only to discover some interesting things are afoot. This adventure is filled with not just some mystery, but actually a lot of action. This one takes place with multiple possibilities of combat, and combat that's not easily avoidable or very dangerous.
Because of the combat heaviness of this one-shot, it is recommended that you're utilizing the Pulp Cthulhu add-on.
This scenario is a good one to run or add to your current campaign if you really want something to do with a lighthouse. Lighthouses are cool, right? They're isolated, they're off the coast. There's usually just one other person that actually mans them. So the mystery and the suspense and even the possible horrors of what comes out of the oceans is a great thing to add to your current adventure or campaign.
This one-shot is actually great for players who you know are not big into the huge, complex problem solving and trying to figure out who done it and just want to get into the fray and have some fun.
The next scenario we're going to talk about is the Edge of Darkness. This is a scenario where the players are invited to a house where they discover that the person of the house has gone missing. It leads into a deep and dark adventure, ones that you may never see the light of day again.
This scenario starts you off into the town where you must research, investigate to discover more about this mysterious location.
This scenario, like most Call of Cthulhu scenarios, has much danger in it. This one actually has a big element of stealth, right? As the players begin to explore unknown regions within the scenario, stealth becomes very important. Now, if you're looking for a campaign where it has a bit of investigation, possible combat, but a lot of stealth and maybe some discovery of actual hidden things, then this could be a scenario for you. Another scenario we can talk about is Mist Dews. This one I truly enjoyed, due to you actually start off as gangsters. Your players are called in to a mob boss who is looking for a missing partner who owes him some money and or maybe some answers on a previous job. So it's your job as the players to investigate and find where did this missing individual go, and what's going on with his mission that he did.
The thing I love about this as well, that gangster theme really truly hones in on that speakeasy bootlegger time frame where you're just a bunch of goons who are getting caught up in some crazy things that you've never could even imagine. Throw in some gunfights on top of that, and you got a winning experience.
Interesting thing about this scenario is that it actually takes place in the actual primary town of Arkham, Massachusetts.
And as fun as gunfights sound, remember that in Call of Cthulhu, combat is very dangerous. So always know that there can always be a way around combat if your players are sly enough and creative enough.
This adventure has cults, mysterious artifacts, and very dark, and I mean dark, ending in a very, very creepy, very disturbing situation at the end. So be advised, for players with a more softer palette, let's say, some of the events that happen at the very end of this scenario can be a little too disturbing, especially for younger children.
I think that'd be great advice for a lot of Call of Cthulhu campaigns.
Well,
Just be aware of your audience.
copy. Another fun scenario that we played was the Crimson Letters. This one, once again, another one that takes place in Arkham, Massachusetts, which actually features heavily the Miskatonic University, the famous Miskatonic University. In this scenario, the players are investigating a death of a professor. And from there, they get to experience a lot of investigation and a lot of references to the deeper, darker mythos, as well as some cult activity.
This scenario has a lot of investigating through libraries, searching for artifacts, thinking through cult documentations, but is very light on the combat side. So, know your players. If they love those investigative type scenarios, this is the one for them.
It also includes a lot of interviews with various different NPCs about obviously, the death that actually happened at the university.
So for those players who love talking it up with NPCs and interviewing through that investigative nature, like journalism, this would be a great session.
Or detectives.
Or detectives, yeah.
Keepers beware. Since this one is very heavily investigative, there always is a chance of analysis paralysis, where your party will get stuck not really knowing where to go. So keepers, always keep a good eye on your players and give them a little nudge here and there when they need it. The next scenario is a Call of Cthulhu classic, a great introductory scenario, which is called The Haunting. This one, the players investigate a mysterious house, which could be haunted. This is a good one for new players and keepers to run. Due to it's short, can be done in one sitting, as well as the information is easy to digest. It has a little bit of most aspects of the game of Call of Cthulhu, from investigation to a very light combat in the end.
This scenario also introduces some great shock moments where players will be amazed of things that just come out of nowhere and get them really dived in to the experience of what Call of Cthulhu has to offer.
It has a lot of moments of horror, which allows your players, especially new ones, to learn about what sanity truly means. The next scenario is Servants of the Lake. This one where the party is actually searching for a missing person. It takes them down a road This one's a good scenario to have also if your party's traveling between cities and they just happen to be needing to travel down a specific road. The midpoint and the actual point where the most of this scenario takes place in is at a motel off the side of this road by a lake. In this scenario, the players find out that there's more to this motel than meets the eye. Strange occurrences and very weird NPCs are abundant within this scenario.
This scenario has investigative elements, very little combat at the near end, but dangerous combat. So, great for players who love creepy things, weird situations, trying to solve some puzzles, very strange NPCs. And loving those crazy interactions. This would be a great scenario for those type of players.
And for keepers, if you want to run your players through a Bates Motel type of scenario, this is the one. Another cool Call of Cthulhu scenario is Dead Light. This is a good one if you have your investigators traveling between cities, as it starts on a dark road and you stop at a diner with very interesting NPCs in the diner, and strange events start to happen, and you and your investigators get pulled into a very interesting mystery.
The nature of this scenario gets you involved with a variety of NPCs with a lot of strange behaviors. Great scenario for conversations, investigating, puzzle solving, and trying to understand what is going on.
If you're looking for a scenario which has a creepy diner, that vibe, right? That strange things are going on. This may be the one for you. There's also other locations into the forest around the diners that can be very challenging on the investigative side, as well as very scary, that can actually bring a lot of horror elements into your adventure.
This scenario has very minimal combat situations. So for those combat heavy loving players, this may not be for them.
All these scenarios and adventures that we talked about are really cool to either do as standalone one-shots or to include them in your campaign. The variety of locations that they offer it gives a great sense of not just of adventure and wonder. Things from islands with lighthouses to diners and cult churches and just all sorts of interesting locations.
As we mentioned before, these can be short to 1 or 2 sessions, but are great for inserting into even larger campaigns if you're looking for something a little different in between sessions.
Now, we have only ran one pre-made Call of Cthulhu campaign, and it was actually the Pulp Cthulhu campaign, The Two-Headed Serpent. This one, just like a Pulp Cthulhu, is action-packed. I'm talking globe-trotting, Indiana Jones style, just fighting the nemesis of humanity, fighting the mythos,
punching Cthulhu in the face.
No, you're not punching Cthulhu in the face. But there's a lot of punching that's going on. The awesome locations that the players will get to truly immerse themselves in, from the jungles of Bolivia to maybe even the far reaches of the northern Icelands and far off eastern cities. I didn't want to name it.
Yeah, you know what? You can't name cities because then that's a hint to some things.
Yeah.
So, but far off and cities is fine. You're just kind of like you're going from countries to far off cities,
multiple countries.
Yeah. So, talking about some of we talked about like combat elements and stuff like that.
We just said it's heavy in combat.
Yeah, heavy in combat.
Okay.
So we can talk about the investigative nature of it.
It's lighter on the investigation. It's not no investigation.
We can say you work for an organization.
Yeah. No. Because the scenario doesn't start with you working for the organization.
Yeah, you're
No. It's not until the end of the first scenario. Remember, you get hired on, or you get invited by this organization.
Yeah, you get invited by
Yeah.
a large organization.
Yep. Yeah.
Far-reaching influence.
Yeah, it's the Caduceus Aid Society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can tell it's like, you know, like
Sure,
where it
you
starts
can.
off.
Yeah, you can tell how
Yeah.
it starts off.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
This scenario starts off with an invitation from the Caduceus Aid Society, a far-reaching and powerful organization.
Through this Caduceus Aid Society, and as you travel around the world, your players begin to peel back a mystery and start to figure out that there's a world-ending threat that is looming, and only the investigators can stop it.
This campaign includes a very complex plot with a lot of threads that your players will have to follow.
Keepers beware. As players do tend to do, they will go in the wrong direction at many times, or they will forget to take down good notes, which then will then lead them to forget which plot thread is going in which direction.
Something to help combat this is having handouts. Things that you can provide your players, notes, information that allows them to kind of have that on hand, so if they ever need to reference back to it, it's something that they can do.
Luckily, the campaign actually provides multiple handouts already, but, as I like to say, the more handouts, the merrier. Outside of really cool handouts, there is a myriad of artifacts that the players will get to put their hands on, and some of them can be fun, interesting, but extremely dangerous.
For the keepers, be wary. If you have players who like to hoard information or always are trying to get their hands on the most powerful artifacts, be careful because there's a lot to give. Make sure to spread out those notes, spread out that content and items so all your players get to handle and experience everything that this has to offer.
Look who's talking. He tried to hoard everything. So, keepers, also know that you have a tool in your box to help your players if they get lost in the myriad of plots and or handouts and they start to wonder what they should do next. The tool is the no roll or the idea roll. Those rolls will actually help you out or help your players out, move them along. So if they ever get stuck or analysis paralysis. One cool thing about running a Call of Cthulhu campaign, unlike the little scenarios where it's just a lot of sanity lost in a short period of time, this one, it is a long haul where the sanity slowly drains and you get to, and your players get to, experience the creeping crawl into madness, something which they never get to see in a scenario in a one-shot where, they just lose a lot of sanity points. But this one, they actually get to deal with the consequences of their sanity, as they may go insane and have so much left of the campaign to deal with that insanity. As a keeper, I truly enjoyed this campaign. To actually have my players run through something that's long-term, that to see their characters grow, both in skill and in sanity, was fantastic.
As a player, being able to experience a variety of horrific events and get to experience places around the world was a lot of fun. That being said, as a player, again, when we discussed complex threads and complex plot, sometimes we felt a little lost. And that's, again, why it's important to make sure that information is documented, handed out, or you got someone who's really good at notes. That note taking is key.
Let us know about the various scenarios that you may have run for your players, or players, some of the scenarios you truly enjoyed. Comment that down below.
If you liked our video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe as we have more content to come. Until then, see you next time.